Hey, Eagle fans! Your Statesboro Walmart is your one-stop shop for all your Georgia Southern football and game day needs. Pick up your GSU sports gear here. We have t-shirts, hats, tote bags, koozies, stadium bleacher seats, car spirit flags, wall pennants, beads, and more right here at the best prices in town. Also, don't forget we can handle all of your tailgating needs with our great food trays, baked goods, and fresh, high-quality meat, seafood, and chicken.
Walmart. Save money. Live better. Walmart.
An historic game for the Georgia Southern Eagles Saturday as they travel to Atlanta to take on former Eagle head coach Paul Johnson and the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Analysis, interviews, and more as we welcome you inside the Eagles Nest. And welcome inside the Eagles Nest. I'm your host, Josh Aubrey, being joined as always by Matt Yogus, the sports editor and Georgia Southern beat writer for the Statesboro Herald. Matt, big historic game coming up here Saturday in Atlanta. Georgia Southern taking on Georgia Tech for the first time, taking on a former head coach for the first time that's going to be going up against Georgia Southern. And you have another former head coach who's an assistant coach at Georgia Tech. Before we get to that briefly, let's get into the Savannah State game. Georgia Southern rolling up over 599 yards of rushing, 83 points in the game, giving up only 9. Your thoughts on the Savannah State game?
I think you said everything that needs to be said about that game. Really, Georgia Southern completely overmatched Savannah State. We knew they would. I don't think anybody thought it was going to be that big, although some of us thought it was going to be a little closer. But regardless, Georgia Southern didn't get a whole lot out of that game other than they came out of it relatively injury-free. And, you got to put that one behind you now because, like you said, Georgia Tech, you got Paul Johnson, who you could argue is one of the probably 2 or 3 people more responsible for Georgia Southern's football success than anybody else. You got Irk, you got Paul Johnson, and you got the administration from back then, and then it's everybody else.
Oh, without a doubt. 2 national championships, and he really took Georgia Southern up to the next level. You thought maybe when he was getting ready to leave, maybe you'd move up, but hey, they're there now. So let's get into this one. Georgia Tech and Georgia Southern going at it. I talked to Coach Fritz. You've talked to Coach Fritz. He says that, them playing Wofford might kind of hurt Georgia Southern because of the offenses being a little more similar. I didn't really think about it. I thought Wofford might be more like Georgia Tech, but he's saying because of the shotgun that Wofford's implemented and what they're doing may kind of be a wash there.
Yeah, you throw Wofford and Georgia Tech into a blender and you kind of get Georgia Southern's offense. This game's all about the offense. Paul Johnson pretty much started this whole option cult at Georgia Southern as the offensive coordinator. Now it's at Navy, it's at Army, it's at Charleston Southern, Cal Poly, a bunch of FCS schools, Kennesaw State. It's really a following that all started with him. So the offense is the story of the game. Georgia Southern knows how to defend against it. They know how to run it. They know what's going on. Jack Curtis has seen it in practice. He's seen it against Wofford in the Citadel. This is a game where execution is going to be the only thing that matters for both teams. If both teams are turning over the football, who knows what's going to happen, but the team that executes the best, their offensive game plan, is going to be the team that wins this ball game.
Well, Paul Johnson is, as much as he loves Statesboro and his time spent at Georgia Southern, he'd like nothing more than to put it on Georgia Southern this year. I know there's been some pleasantries exchanged between Willie Fritz and Paul Johnson, but once they get on that field, they're both going to be going at each other.
Oh, yeah, Paul Johnson, he doesn't really have any ties to this coaching staff. He'd love nothing more than to prove, I'm still the guy here. But Georgia Southern, same thing. Georgia Southern is making a push to be relevant in the FBS, relevant on a national scale, and boy, knocking off probably the number 2 team in the state will sure take you a long way in that goal, especially leading into Sun Belt play the following week.
All right, well, we had a chance to talk with head coach Willie Fritz and some of the players about the matchup going to Atlanta to take on Paul Johnson and the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets.
Our defensive coaches have gone against this style of offense, for the last 4 years, with Coach Munkin. There's not a whole lot of teams that run it, day in and day out, game in and game out. So I think there will be some carryover. You got to just be very assignment sound. Everything they do, you've got to have somebody on the dive, somebody on the quarterback, somebody playing the pitch. You got to have an extra player at the point of attack, and you want to give them a few different looks, and try not to settle in just one thing. I'm sure they've got philosophies on how to play, the style of option that we play. We're probably a little more similar to Wofford, and they played them the first game of the year. So, you know, it may help them as well, but, you know, when you get out there, it's going to be Georgia Tech 2014 against Georgia Southern 2014. I don't know Coach Johnson real well. I've heard a lot of fantastic things about him. He's done a tremendous job every place he's been at. You know, and I know they're going to be well coached. So, you know, yeah, there is some Southern ties. The couple times I've met Coach Johnson since I've taken the job here at Georgia Southern, he's been very complimentary about Statesboro and Georgia Southern. You know, we have so many Atlanta guys that play for us, and you know, so many guys from the state of Georgia, and then the opportunity to play a well-known program like Georgia Tech. I've told these guys this is what it's all about, playing Division I football. You're going to have these kind of teams that you're going to play week in and week out. You know, in the Southern Conference, there was you know, some games that you played, and, you know, there was a wide margin of error that you could maybe not trot your A game out and still be able to win. That's not the case now. We're going to have to be sharp in all three phases and you know, bring our A game each and every week, playing a full slate of Division I ball games.
It's really exciting. I know everybody here is excited. There's a lot of guys from Atlanta, and you know, I'm sure they're excited to get back home, kind of put on for their home crowd. I mean, I feel like we're going to be, you know, extremely prepared. You know, I mean, we've run the triple option for just as long as they have, and I know everybody's actually going to be extremely prepared.
I feel like everybody's ready. Georgia Tech, they have a great team. They have great players and great coaches. But I feel like the tradition of the triple option, we love the triple option here, and we respect it. So I feel like going in to play in this, everybody's excited. And with our preparation, I feel that we're going to give respect to the triple option and play like this is our last game.
Well, we heard from the Georgia Southern perspective. Now let's hear what former Georgia Southern head coach and current Georgia Tech head coach Paul Johnson has to say about facing his old team.
This is a game against Georgia Southern that, as I've said before, I think they've wanted for a long time. And it's finally on the schedule, so they're going to get their opportunity, and we need to be ready to play a good game because they got a good football team. They got a lot of good athletes, some good team speed, and I'm sure they're going to come in here and play very hard. But if you look at the NC State game, you know, Georgia Southern hit big plays on them. It wasn't like a lot of time consuming. I think that, I can't remember exactly, but I think NC State probably made them punt 4 or 5 times. They had a turnover. There was more possessions in that game than there was in our Wofford game. I think in our Wofford game what happened is there was a lot of 4 and 5 and 6 minute drives on both sides of the ball that really just kind of ate the clock up. So when you play a team like that, you need to be able to get them off the field. And you're the guy turning the clock and keeping it away from them. But you know, the game could end up with that many possessions. We'll just see. I'd be surprised. They're playing well. We'll find out on Saturday. You know, I don't put a whole lot of stock into, like I said, us, them, anybody the first couple of games. I think you got to let the thing play out and see how it goes. Clearly, they've got some athletes. They've always had good athletes, and they play hard. So, you know, we've got to match that. You can go a step further. The game before the NC State game was with Florida. They beat them. So, you know, in their last 3 games, they played pretty good.
An interesting family twist on this game, of course, Paul Johnson is at Georgia Tech, but so is Mike Sewak, former Georgia Southern head coach, whose son, Nick Sewak, is a member of the Georgia Southern football team, going back to take on his dad in Georgia Tech, where he has roamed the sidelines growing up. We had a chance to talk with Nick about going back to Atlanta to face his dad in the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Playing Georgia Tech, it's got to be kind of strange for you, isn't it?
It's pretty strange. I'm pretty excited though. A great opportunity for me and my dad both, so, and everybody else on the team.
What have you guys talked about together?
I mean, he gives me a call about every day just to make sure I'm doing well and just to, I guess, catch up with what's going on. And he gave me a call last night, watched the special teams film from Savannah State, saw me snap, said I did pretty well, so that's always exciting anytime I get a compliment from him.
What's it going to be like with him on the other side of the field?
Oh, it's going to be really exciting, you know. I know he's a fantastic coach. He knows everything. I mean, he knows what he's talking about, what he's doing here, so that should be pretty exciting.
Having gone to the Georgia Tech games as long as you have, to go into that field and be on the visitor side, what's that going to be like?
It's going to be real different. I don't exactly know what the other sideline looks like from over there. I've always been on home side, but it should be a real exciting, different view for me, of course. So.
What do you think about the team? Has everybody been kind of pumped up about?
Yeah, we're so excited. Another great opportunity to showcase our talent and what a great university, great football program we have here. So it should be fantastic.
Matt, on the other side of the field for Georgia Tech, a couple people with Statesboro roots. You have Freddie Burden, who's going to be playing on the offensive line. I believe he's playing center right now for Georgia Tech, and Mike Summers, who both played at Statesboro High and have been to quite a few Georgia Southern games. Quickly, before we go, your thoughts on how you think this one's going to play out. It started off very similar to NC State as about a 23-point Georgia Tech favorite, and now it's down to about 20 right now. So very similar to what the NC State game was.
Yeah, you got ACC athletes, Georgia Tech. I don't think they have quite the defensive line NC State has, but obviously the talent is there. They're ACC talented. They run an offense that's tough to beat as long as it doesn't beat itself. So Georgia Southern will have its hands full in this ball game, but as I said earlier, it's going to come down to execution. Tech's been a little bit turnover prone. They gave away a touchdown at the beginning of the game against Tulane last week, and they can't be doing that kind of stuff against Georgia Southern because this is a team that's talented enough to capitalize on mistakes like that, and I believe we will see a football game in the fourth quarter.
All right, you think it's going to be within the 20 points then?
I do.
All right, as far as I go, I think that the Georgia Tech, if Georgia Southern's able to keep it close, you got to watch out for that third quarter because that's usually when Tech and Paul Johnson do their best coaching is coming out of halftime. So I think it's important for it to be close or Georgia Southern leading at halftime for them to have a chance there in the game. But I think it's going to be a pretty close ball game as well. Well, for Matt Yogas, I'm Josh Aubry. Thanks for joining us. Hope to see you again next week.